Alright, for anybody familiar with the car, this is my 94 model Toyota Hilux that I did a V6 conversion on, which is the second generation Buick motor essentially, and had that in there for approximately 5 years. In that time, I pretty much got over it, to be frank. It could never just consistently run. It was always a maintenance issue or another issue, issue after issue, whether that's my doing on some things potentially, but always had sensors go out, always had spark issue, and then I'd fix the spark issue, and then there was a water pump, and then there's actually two water pumps I went through, high flow one and a standard one, and all parts from like replacement parts from Repco or whatever else. So I just got sick of it and decided to remove it entirely and go to a different motor. I had done a lot with the V6 to the point where it was probably unwise for me to actually do another motor swap on it. I should have just sold it, but I'm attached to the car itself. So it was more a case of I've just grown to the car. I paid $1,000 for it when I was an apprentice, and I just can't get rid of it. So yeah, I ended up going with another Toyota motor, essentially. One that some people would be familiar with. I went back to a Toyota motor. I went to the 3RZ. So essentially the next year model's motor, because originally 22R, 2.4 litre carbureted, and now I have the 2.7 litre injected motor, which, not surprisingly, it fits in there well, because obviously the next year model didn't really change too much body shape wise. Did have to move engine mounts and that sort of stuff, which isn't surprising, but other than that, it was just a better alternative and choice to go to. I've currently had this in here for about a year now, and it's been pretty good. I've taken this to Queensland and back, and I'm in sort of the lower portion of New South Wales, so many days on the road. But yeah, fits in there nicely. But yeah, a 3RZ was kind of the choice. I found a donor car, it came up for sale, just got it, was in a wreck, had low Ks on it, and this engine was destined for another car. It was destined for my RN20, however I needed a more reliable vehicle just for camping and going in the bush, so this car got it. The V6 that I had in the time, I'd done so much to it, it wasn't funny. I had reconditioned heads because I thought it was potentially a head issue from the heating issues. I had put in a ZZP intercooler kit from the US, full Gen 4, 3, whatever the newest one is. High flow pump, front mount intercooler set up for it all. So the sandwich plate that would sit in between the supercharger and everything like that. Yeah, kept it like cool as on the road, not an issue, but really hot days and just in the bush, like properly four driving and trying to just do what a small motor like this would do. It was just getting too hot, heat soak, and then I'd have to either stop for a bit or essentially pick up the pace, which is not what I wanted to do at all. I want to enjoy this sort of stuff, especially if I'm in the bush. So essentially, I had to make a decision and just swap it out. There's a few things on this swap that I still want to get sorted. Firstly is the fucking proper cap for that, which is annoying as hell, which is all the fused blade fuses, but regardless. So for some reason, when they sell them, they don't sell the tops with them, but anyway. But I ended up going the 3RZ. Dropped significant horsepower, obviously, but it seemed like the better choice in the end. So I've got new intake exhaust manifold on it. So one for a Prado, worked insanely well, but I had to cut it up and make it work for the exhaust system I had. So if anyone was doing this swap into Ln106 for a 3RZ, get a 3RZ Prado exhaust manifold. Honestly, the best start you can honestly get for that. It fits in there so well, it's not funny. Like even when you look down in through here, clears the firewall, nice and perfect, plenty of space all around. But I obviously cut mine off pretty much where the two collectors are and went from there. For anybody that wants to do the V6 conversion, I would honestly tell you not to. Unless you're willing to sacrifice a few different things. First of which, I don't think going manual in the car itself, so go an automatic box, they just run better with them. You'll have slightly better ratios, and you can stay. They just run a lot better with any automatic. That's why Holden never released the supercharged V6 motor with a manual. It just didn't really work that well. Diff ratios is another one. I have 488 diff ratios in this car. I didn't want to change them because I like to do, as much forward driving as possible, and I want as much slow control as possible. So I didn't want to change those to like 4.1s or anything like that. But anyway, go with the copper core 3-core radiator out of a Surf. It's required almost. They are way better than any aluminium one. I had a desert cooler radiator in there, custom built. It doesn't even compare to the copper stuff. It's just a joke, honestly. Yeah, but essentially I've done everything that I can with this one, swap wise. So this is 3RZ with a R151 gearbox behind it. And it just suits it a lot better. It's quite fuel efficient too. Like with the 33s on it and pretty much no weight, no rooftop 10 or anything like that, I was getting 10 litres, 9.5 to 10 litres to the 100 on the highway, which is a bit ridiculous. But anyway, that was pretty good. But this has been more reliable for the last year that I've had it in. Way more reliable. Just general maintenance on it, whatever else. I did have an issue with the stock exhaust manifold sealing correctly. They warp pretty easy. All right if you have access to a milling machine or anything like that. But I ended up getting sick of it, as well as the lower flange gasket bullshit. So this works great if you're going to get it to work. However, I fucking just could not get that bullshit to seal because they use these stupid metal crush washer things. And excuse the mess. Well, I don't have any here actually. Thought I had a set. But they use these stupid crush washer things. And I was just over it. No. Can't find them. They're junk anyway. Absolute junk. But I just hate the fact that you have to torque it up to crush it and to get it to seal. It worked well for a while, but I'm just having more issues with it. So I went and made my own one with a V-band. So I ended up putting a V-band in there. Look, I'm no exhaust maker. I'm no pro by any means. I just do it in the backyard in the shed because I like messing around with cars. But that's about it. So, but to wrap up, essentially, anybody wanting to do a V6 Commodore motor change, I just wouldn't, unless you're willing to spend a lot more money to sort of get things correct. Like I had issues with the wiring harness, which I had bought from a V6 conversion place. The harness came with all automatic plugs and all this other bullshit, even though apparently at the time when I ordered it was specific to each platform. So I don't know, I don't rate it. This wiring harness I did all myself. 3RZs are very easy to wire in. If I can do it, anybody can do it. They work off a very simple platform. But yeah, so other than that, I just think it's a better setup for the car. So this is what I'll be continuing with. I'm very much debating whether I go to a turbo, but because there's a lot of space here, and I mean it would look fucking pretty cool, and more power would be nice, and yeah, but not at this stage. So for anybody wanting to do a V6 conversion, I would probably suggest not to. You will have, if you have my luck, you'll have issue after issue after issue. So hell, if you want to do a fully built brand new motor and do it all that way, hell, I'd just suggest just go to a turbo, to be honest. The superchargers are inefficient and just produce a lot of heat, which is ultimately the downfall of that. I probably recommend just to go to an NA version of it, even though superchargers are cool and fun, and I would have them on many other cars, like my HQ. I'd love a supercharger on that, but but regardless, this is what I ultimately did for reliability. It's just better, just better. So sorry for anybody that follows my channel just for the V6 swap information. I do still have like a heap of information there and all the rest of it, but I've sold off all the parts, sold off the motor, sold off the bell housings. Actually, I still have one bell housing here. Yeah, the one bell housing's in an R box, but other than that. But anyway, so currently going to start moving houses soon, so haven't really been able to get to my projects, but the RN20 is still on the cards. I just need more time, which is very, very rare. But anyway, thank you for watching.